everybody. How y'all doing? Once again, it's that time of the week, your favorite time of the week. Welcome to the Alphabets Football Talk Show. I'm your host, Marcus the Alphabets. Once again, bringing y'all the latest and greatest when it comes to the NFL football talk. We're so happy to have you guys. With everything that's going on, we get a couple of hours to talk football and relax and take our mind off everything that's going on in the world. So we're excited to be back. First things first, I want to introduce my co-host, the lovely, volatile Miss Ramona Die Hard Die. How you doing, Miss Die?
I'm doing great, Marcus. How are you?
I'm good. Ready to get this party started.
That's right.
Talk a little bit of football. Happy to have you once again. I got somebody special in the house tonight. He really needs no introduction. You know, me and him, we've been chopping it up for a little bit. My former co-host on the Off the Richter Scale, he's back in the house tonight because we had to talk this AFC East, so I had to bring him back in. Welcome, William Off the Richter Scale. He's in the house tonight.
What's up, everybody?
I like that. I see. I knew it. He's already up with the shenanigans. Already
Going. Let's go.
Welcome back. We have a great show. Really excited to have you back in the house.
Thank you. Good to
and then lastly, I want to introduce one of my guests tonight. I got Sally Sale in the house out in Cali, Cali living. She's in the house tonight with us. You there, Sally?
Here I am.
There she goes.
Thank you for having me.
What's going on? We're so happy to have you in the house tonight.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So happy to have you here. I got somebody else. He'll probably be up in here later, but we're going to get this party started. You know how we do. Usually we start off with the news. Two things kind of stood out with me that has happened since last week. And one thing was, with everything going on, this is not a political show, but whenever politics and sports meet with each other, we kind of like to touch on it. The NFL said this past week that they would start before the national anthem for the first week of the season, that they were going to play the Black national anthem. I don't know everybody if you've ever heard of it. It's called Lift Every Voice and Sing. I'm kind of mixed on it. Look, I wouldn't really have an issue if they didn't have any national anthems, but that's what they've decided to do. Mona, thoughts on that?
Well, I don't have a problem with it, to be honest. I don't. I mean, it is what it is, and I'm tired of everybody being offended by everything, and just, you know what, whatever.
Okay.
That's how I feel about it.
I just kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit, and then Sally, what do you think about the national the Black national anthem being played week one? Any thoughts on that?
You know what? I think, to be honest with you, it's kind of it's awesome. I think personally, I think that it's great. Just bring the variety of different things. I think our country is definitely due for some changes. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with bringing that in. Like Ramona said, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, everyone has their own opinion about what's going on and what's happening. Like I said, personally, I think it's a great idea.
Okay. Will?
You have to look at it from multiple aspects, and you have to understand where it's coming from. The players are signing off on this. The owners are okay with it. The league is trying to promote something. I think after all the incidences that they've been through over the last 4 or 5 years, when we start back at Kaepernick and we work our way to this point, they understand that they missed the boat on this, and they're trying to jump back on and fix the wrongs that they've done. Whether this is actually a true fix or not, time will tell. I'm not opposed to it. I think they're trying to give a goodwill gesture. I think they're trying to do things in the right direction. Are they doing it the right manner? That's what I'm concerned about. Are they presenting this in the right fashion? Are they presenting it with pomp and circumstance, or are they or are they putting it out there just as cannon fodder or to just to appease the masses, or are they doing this with the generous heart and trying to learn and function out there and make change like they honestly want to? That's where we have to see come from.
I guess my main issue is don't try to appease me with the Black National Anthem. If you really want to appease me, you really want to make certain changes, give me a few more Black head coaches. Give me a few more Black general managers, executives, maybe an owner, maybe a Black owner. Now I know the whole ownership thing is kind of tough because when you look at these franchises, they're basically family businesses. Okay, you look at the Fords. You look at the Fords. I mean, this is Henry Ford's family, Ford Motor Company. You look at the Fords. You look at the Joneses with Dallas. You look at the Crafts with the Maras, the Rooneys with the Giants, Steelers, Patriots. You know, some of the most powerful owners. These are like basic family businesses. So it's really tough. I was really disappointed whenever when they had to sell the owner of the Panthers had to sell the Panthers, and there were like groups trying to buy that team and still weren't able to get it's you got to have diversity. So we'll see how that works out with that. Next thing I wanted to talk about was the NFL. Will, we were talking about this a little bit before we came on the air. Some of the changes that they're taking place. You want to tell us about that?
So the NFL put out some parameters this week. When we're looking at sideline things, the things that we will notice on the sidelines come game day when they have them, players and coaches will not have to have masks on if they've got helmets and they're playing on both sides of the field or whatnot. Player personnel, trainers, guys in street clothes, things like that, they're all with masks on and trying to social distance. You do not have to social distance when you're on the sideline playing in the game, because the night before you're getting tested for corona and you fail, you're not on the field, all that stuff. So it should be a secure environment and a safe environment. The other big one is on the screen we had just a few minutes ago. No jersey swapping. And I think this is probably one of the dumbest things they could think of. You're sharing sweat and blood, and you're hitting each other for 60 straight minutes constantly, but you can't touch each other swapping jerseys or swap jerseys with somebody spit on it because they both passed the test. Now, I understand that it goes through clothing and stuff like that, but 90% of these guys frame it within the week. So that's the thing. So even if they did have it, it's not there. So I don't know, I think this is a joke rule. I think a lot of the players have already responded out that this is a joke as well. They think it's overbearing and kind of dumb. Myles Garrett's come out and said some things like that. What do you guys think?
I just think that really, I don't think anybody knows what's really going on, to be honest with you, because there's certain things that make sense and then there's other things that don't. I mean, it's confusing. I mean, who really has an answer to all of this? It's like, don't wear, your mask here, but wear it here, or, you know what I mean? Especially what's going on right now. It's very confusing. Personally, for me, it's confusing. It's like, well, you can't gather at a funeral, but you can go protest, or, it's just a lot of craziness. So I don't know, to be honest with you, I think that a lot of times I agree with the players that, they think that some of this is kind of silly. It's kind of dumb. I'm with them on that one. 100%.
They're kind of giving the players the opportunity. Like, look, let's just keep it. In the words of my good friend Andre the Torch Robinson, let's keep it a buck, okay? You can't socially distance on a football field.
No.
6 feet apart.
It's impossible. It's one thing with fights. You look at like the UFC, they kind of have their thing. They're having like fights and stuff on Fight Island. You got two guys in the ring. Okay, yeah. You got 22 guys within 120 yards of each other on a field, on a football field. And then, when the plays, you got 22 guys within 10 yards of each other, 10 to 20 yards of each other. You can't, it's just, they're going to have to come to the point where they're going to have to make a decision. And I really think that they're going to have to ask these players, they're going to have to put some kind. It's just one of those things we've never really been here before. We haven't really been in a situation like this before. Except maybe wartime. World War II, Vietnam. You look at a guy like Roger Staubach or who's that guy from the Steelers, Ramona? He served a little bit of time playing for the Steelers.
He's looking for a name.
Except maybe wartime. World
Oh,
War II.
Oh,
Vietnam,
yes, he's talking about Lucky Flyer. He's talking about Lucky Flyer.
Somebody's got an echo over there. Why? Somebody got an echo. But, during wartime and stuff like that, guys that had to go off in World War II. But I don't know if we've really been in a situation like this. Maybe September the 11th. I remember they kind of pushed the season back a week. But we're kind of like in uncharted territory. And guys are going to have to make a decision as far as that. One last thing, and I don't have a slide for it. I don't know how we could kind of pass over this. Patrick Mahomes. 10 years, $503 million.
Mm-hmm.
We say half, a million. Who was that? Lil Wayne, a million. A half a billion. Is that what we call it? A billion, half a billion. We call that a billion. 10 years, 503, averaging 45 million a year. Thoughts on that? Is Patrick Mahomes worth 40 plus million a year? Is he worth it?
You know what? To me, if you're working it, if you do what you got to do, you're earning your paycheck. Look, that's just my personal opinion. I don't know too much about him in a sense, but I mean, you're out there hustling, you're out there working, you're out there doing what you need to be doing. I mean, I think all the players can kind of perfect their game in certain areas, but I think, he does bring something to the game.
10 years, 503. Man,
It's a team-friendly deal.
My sons play running back. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have young kids out there, you may want to start having your kids practice to be quarterbacks. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. Vince, you do what you want to do. You put them in whatever sport. 40-something million. So
I have a problem. I want to say something about this.
Okay.
Where I have my problem is they are getting ready to start having players that they're going to have to start re-signing. How are they going to be able to afford to re-sign some of these players that are coming up off their rookie contracts who are going to be wanting big money as well?
I have a big answer for you.
Okay.
So here's the deal. So for the next 2 seasons, he's getting paid on an average $21.8 million. All right. On average, that's what his salary off the cap is coming off of. All right. A lot of this money is cash money coming into his pocket to make that 45 for the year. The next 2 years of his deal, the first 2 of this extension, he goes up to 22.5 or 23 million. Then it's 24 for the next year. Then it's 26. So we're in year 4 of that extension, 6 years out. He's only at 24 million walking out on the cap. So he's walking out with Tom Brady money right now. At year 6 and 7, he goes up to 30. Year 8, he makes Russell Wilson money at 35 million finally. Year 8 of this special deal. Year 8 is when he sees Russell Wilson money. And then 9 and 10 is when he starts getting paid out. 9, 10, 11, and 12, which would be the last 4 years of that deal. So 8 years down the road, he's making Russell Wilson money. And he'll be the 14th best or 15th best quarterback he'll be the best quarterback, but being paid at 14th. Guaranteed there's some outs and clauses. But
that's the main thing that people have to understand. Okay, first off, everybody understand they're giving him this deal 2 years early. Because he already signed his 5th year tender. Okay, he already signed his 5th year tender. So that money's already accounted for. So they're just adding money on top of that. So don't look at it as I know everybody sees 10 years, 503, and they're thinking $50 million a year. It's not really quite like that.
No. And
my point is, down the road, we know that they're going to lose players and they're going to gain new players. By the time that year 7 and 8 are here, and he's making all this big money, and they're having to try and bring. Is this guy going to be like Tom Brady and take a pay cut to keep players around him?
New answer.
Well, see,
New answer.
look, like Will was saying, a lot of this is backloaded, and there's a lot of clauses in there. He actually kind of made things better and made things easier for the Chiefs. Number one, by signing a 10-year deal, and number two is a lot of their talent is young talent that they just got. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, their first round pick this year, you got him for 5 years. You got him for 5 years. They just signed. They drafted Mecole Hardman last season. You got him for 4 more years potentially. So two of their big players on. Damian Williams, he'll be off the books by then. They just re-signed Sammy Watkins. So they're really not paying a lot of people. Maybe the Honey Badger, but I think the Chiefs thinking on this is, hell, if we can get 3 or 4 Super Bowls out of this. If we can get 3 or 4 Super Bowls out of this, it'll be worth every penny. I think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, and I don't even think it's close.
Okay.
I don't even.
I'll stick in real quick. So the only 2 real people you have to worry about are Travis Kelce right now and Tyreek Hill, and maybe Honey Badger in 2 years because he signed a 3-year deal, $9 million, $3 million a year, nothing, pennies on the dollar. We have to look at Travis Kelce's deal coming up at the end of this year. Okay. Well, Travis Kelce's made all that money, and he's 30, 31 now. He's an aging tight end. He's going to just take money if he knows that he can win rings at this point. He'll take vet minimum, or he'll take a few $1 million. So he's not going to hurt. Tyreek Hill's the one that's going to cost you money. The one that's on the franchise tag.
They just paid Tyreek Hill last year.
No, you didn't. He didn't sign because of the incident. He didn't get that contract because he didn't get that because of the big incident.
He got a contract, but he didn't get
that kind of money. But he's going to want that money, and it'll be there in 4 or 5 years when it's all done. Now, if you don't have Tyreek Hill and he walks away, you have his replacement right in the doorstep at Mecole Hardman. It's a cheaper.
That's why they drafted. That's why they drafted Mecole Hardman. They actually didn't think that they were going to have Tyreek Hill last season with the incident with the child abuse. So I think that they kind of planned it through. And
their defensive end that they're worried about trying to re-sign.
Monday. Show me.
Marcus,
yes.
I have a question.
Yes,
Why?
ma'am.
Okay, just a question.
Just before you go with your question, I just want everybody to know I already knew that this deal was backloaded, but I know I've had probably 20 conversations with people, and I knew that you guys would be able to explain it better.
Yes. What were you saying, Sally?
Okay, so that's my question, okay, because I know I hear about this, even with the deal with Dak Prescott right now, how that's going on. I mean, why do people have such a problem with the amount of money that they're asking for when they're the actually ones that are bringing so much money to the franchise? Like, I want your guys' opinion on that. Like, why is that a problem if they're actually coming in there and bringing their A game and bringing the fans and bringing the money to the franchise? Why is that a problem for people? I guess that's my concept, because I feel like if I do a good job,
me being the resident Cowboy fan, and I'm gonna I see you with your star on over there. I'll explain this.
Okay, thank you.
Look, just to make it plain and clear and simple, Dak Prescott ain't Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-mm.
He's just not. And look, we as fans, a lot of times we're fans, but we have to be realistic. And I think Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm also a realist. Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback, but he is not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Drew Brees. He's not. So we have a segment on this show that I like to bring up. It's called "There's Levels to This," and you heard the song. There's levels to this. You have there's levels to this. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback. They've surrounded Dak Prescott with weapons. If he would have done his thing last year, he had some games last year where he didn't play that well. And you're basically playing for a contract, and the Cowboys were 8-8. If I'm giving you 15% of my salary cap, you have to be a William Richter. We're gonna go back. What do you have to be?
A unicorn.
No, you got to be a force multiplier.
Multiplier.
Force
Well, you could use it any way you want.
In the military, that's what we call it. It's like when you're basic. I guess it's kind of like a one-man army. Like you have guys that have average receivers, and they make them look better. Like Tom Brady, a lot of his career, he had average receivers, and they still won.
Should we call these guys Rambos?
I'm telling you. I mean, that's just what it is.
That guy. So here's
that thing. And people look at they look at guys like Dak Prescott, and they look at Jared Goff, who just got paid, and they look at Carson Wentz, and they're like, these are good quarterbacks, but they're not great quarterbacks yet. Once you start winning those games, Patrick Mahomes been in the league 1 year less than Dak Prescott, and he already has a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So they reward him.
It really comes down to wins. And that's where the answer therein lies for the question. These owners.
So basically, it's the wins that constitute for the pay.
But the problem is he's not winning the games he's supposed to, and that's the playoff games.
Going up there,
playoff games are the ones he needs to win.
Not going up there the first 3 weeks of the season and beating the Dolphins and beating the Giants and beating the Redskins, and then you get your tail kicked on Thanksgiving. Okay, I'm sorry, my PTSD just kicked in right
there.
No,
see, I know. See, that's what I'm saying. Don't do
that. Getting your butt kicked by the Bills on Thanksgiving, losing to the Eagles with the opportunity to go to the playoffs the last
win the division,
losing to the Patriots last year. I thought the Cowboys had a better roster than the Patriots last year.
Agreed.
And you lost. And as a quarterback who wants that type of money, I need you to win those games.
You lost to the 0-6 Jets. That's the answer right there. You lost to the 0-6 Jets. You can't lose games to the 0-6 Jets.
So you're just like sucker punching right now.
You went 0-4 against the AFC East last year. 0-4. You cannot do that when it's the weakest division in football last year.
There is one asterisk to that, and that's Jason Garrett was the coach. So now we're going to see. Now we're going to see
coaches now.
Jason Garrett was garbage. Jason Garrett was
on the field should have overcome
Mike McCarthy's going to come in. He's going to instill a new offense, and we'll see. But I don't want to get too long-winded when it comes to the Cowboys. This show here is about the AFC East, and I want to get this party started. I got my man in the house. My Buffalo Bills, William Richter, the head of the Pancho Villa fan club here.
Thanks for your donation. I'll look for another one sometime in a couple of years here.
I'm gonna get my damn Cherry Coke Zero back from you. But we're gonna start it off here, and I think we'll start off with the.
You start with whatever team you want to start with.
The New York, the Jets. Okay, we're gonna start off with
season. Just end the season. That's the acronym. Just end the season. Yes, just end the season. That's what it is right now. I'm telling you.
So we're gonna start off with the Jets. Make sure you all like and share the show. A lot of the Rise Up family is the AFC East. I got a bunch of Bills fan in the house. I got my Patriots fan TC Casey up in the house, and Yuri Barros. We got them in the house. I got William Richter up in here. So we're going to start off with the Jets. We're going to start off with the Jets. What are we going to talk about first with the Jets, Ms. Dodd? What we got? What we got first here with the Jets?
Put the slide up.
Let me get that good Jets slide up there.
Yeah.
We're going to start off with the Jets. We're going to start off with the Jets. Mr. Ricker, what was the Jets record last season?
Oh God, I believe it was
like 4-12. 4-12. I think they were 4-12 last year. Look, there's like I said, there's levels to this. And I think the main thing that we got to start off with, look, if you don't have a franchise quarterback, it makes things kind of hard. And I wanted to kind of discuss Sam Darnold.
I think he could be one, but and we'll get into that in a second. If you want me to elaborate, I will. I think Sam Darnold could, with the right help and the right mentorship. I think Sam.
Can I get my Sam Can I get my Sam Darnold side? So Sam Darnold, he got picked a few years ago, 2018 draft. Came out that 2018 draft. You had number 1 Baker Mayfield. You had
Sam Darnold was at 4.
Can I get Ramona, you there? I can't hear you. Your mic is off.
Oh, I'm here. The Sam Darnold was up. And we first started with Le'Veon Bell. So
okay, well let's start with Le'Veon Bell then.
But now we're already on Sam Darnold. I can go back.
Okay, no problem. So we'll start off with Sam Darnold, and then we'll jump back to it. And see, I put them all in order. I'm just for the record, y'all. Ramona, she's gonna talk bad about me when this show's over. So y'all
yes, I will.
Y'all don't hear from me for a couple of weeks is because I didn't do the slots in sequential order. But anyways, Sam Darnold. What are our thoughts on Sally? What's our thoughts on Sam Darnold? What's your thoughts on this guy? You did your research on what do you think about Sam Darnold?
I did do my research on him. Okay, so right now, as far as head coach Adams, he finds himself basically on the hot seat. I don't know if that's still true in regards to what's going on with him, but. So honestly, what I did like about the fact that he actually took responsibility for, what's been going on with Sam. He basically said that, that he's personally, he was the one to blame for a lot of what was going wrong with the offense. So, I guess the slide said, can he fix, can Adam Gase fix Sam Darnold? I mean, I think basically him taking responsibility as a coach and fixing whatever is not working, I think kind of says a lot about him, and him actually taking the blame for, for Sam maybe not performing as well. I think that's actually noble of him, but I think there has to be some work there.
I'm coming from the point here, and I'll jump in next. Can Adam Gase fix Sam Darnold? Yes. But there are stipulations to this. Is Adam Gase going to be here next year? Because Joe Douglas has got Adam Gase on a hot seat. He fixed a bunch of things, and we'll get into that in a few minutes because this kind of ties in with the next subject as well, with Lev Bell and with this. It's all kind of a team thing. That offense still needs to be fixed in order for Sam Darnold to be there. Sam Darnold needs to be healthy, and he's a turnover machine. He was a turnover machine at USC, and he was a turnover machine this last year and the year before when he was drafted with Allen and everything else in 18. So when you're looking back, can Darnold turn into a Chad Pennington-like quarterback where he's a franchise guy to stay there and win you 8 to 10 games a year? Quite possible. Could he also be a flash in the pan like Mark Sanchez, where he wins a couple of good seasons and then he has an average career at best and then starts falling off and traveling the world? That's possible too. Or can he have like a Vinny Testaverde career where he can win you 10 games every year and you're in it, but you're not winning anything. And he's just going to keep you there and you're missing parts and pieces all throughout. These are the things that we have to think about and look at and whatnot. Can they put the right weapons? Can they fix the offense? And the defense right now is in shambles with the way the secondary is working right now and the voices and things that are going on in the locker room. I think the locker room is a very dismal place right now for the Jets organization. They need to clean things up in there before anything else can happen. And I think that's where we land with Darnold. I think he can be a solid quarterback. I don't think he's going to be tier 1, but he could be mid-tier 2 or mid to lower tier 2 quarterback, which is a decent size. He can be in the top 14 to 20 quarterbacks.
But do you think it has to do also with the coaching, with the coaching in regards to him though?
Let's look at that.
I would like to kind of key in on this for a minute.
Go ahead, Ramona.
I think that Sam Darnold, showed a lot of grit. I mean, he put up with a lot of ribbing last year. He had 2 different stadiums after the ghost game with the Patriots, who played Ghostbusters at the beginning of the game. I mean, this kid showed some true grit. I think he improves this year. I think that, his accuracy will improve as well.
Mhm.
I think that people are writing Sam Darnold off, and I still think he's better than a Blake Bortles.
Agreed.
So,
Well, and let's
my
look at it
opinion
this
on
way.
Sam Darnold.
Let's look at it this way. Sam Darnold finished 6-2 last year to end the season. He started terrible, but he finished 6-2, and the Jets went on a nice run at the end of the year. So again, I could see that momentum carrying into next year. But again, you lost some big wide receivers, you lost some pieces on the defense. So it's again putting new pieces in and hoping they work. Mekhi Becton being on that line, gonna be a big help. Got a unicorn there on that tackle spot.
There you go,
So
Will.
you're looking
Unicorn.
at-
There you
gotta
go.
look at
You guys got to fill me in on the unicorn.
okay,
Oh,
unicorn's a very unique player.
I'm sorry. Unicorn is the term that I use for a player that there's nothing else like him. He's like a once in a lifetime, once in a generation type player. We call those unicorn. You don't see unicorns just walking around. So I'm sorry. We everybody. Don't worry. We'll get you up to speed. That's what I call guys like a Deion Sanders. That's a unicorn. And it doesn't matter what position that they play. He's a unicorn. So Sam Darnold, I just think he's been put in a bad situation. Who you play for matters. Okay. And I don't think I'm just going to keep it real. Will, we've talked about this to nauseam. Ramona, we've talked about this. I think Adam Gase is going to be one of the first coaches fired. And if he's not, he should be. When you look at him and you look at Doug Marrone and Bill O'Brien will be at the top of my list. I would have fired him 5 seconds after he traded DeAndre Hopkins, but that's neither here nor there. I think Sam Darnold, if they're able to put some pieces around him, I like the draft pick of Mekhi Becton, a unicorn, offensive lineman. So my man out there, the ignorant thinker out there, Dennis Holmes, if you're out there listening, he always kind of laughs when I say that. 6'6", 366, 6% body fat, and a 5'1" 40. They don't make guys like that. Picking up Mekhi Becton, drafting Denzel Mims, who I think is a very explosive receiver. I think that helps. I think Sam Darnold, he hasn't really been able to show his true talent because, one, he's got a terrible coach, and two, they don't really surround him enough. Except this next guy who we're going to talk about. Okay, I thought we were going to do I thought we were going to jump back to Le'Veon Bell, but that's cool. So, did General Manager Joe Douglas address the Jets' biggest need? And we just kind of touched on that as far as I love the Mekhi Becton pick. I really love the Denzel Mims pick. I just think he had no receivers to throw to. And if you're your job as a GM, especially when you have a young quarterback, your job, your sole mission, your sole job is to surround them with talent. And when you look at the other teams in the division, when you look at the Dolphins, who we'll talk about shortly, having a guy like Devontae Parker. When you look at the Bills going out to get a guy like Stephon Diggs, who we'll talk about in a little bit. When you look at you got to give these young quarterbacks, not so much with the Patriots, they went and got Cam Newton. We'll get to that in a little bit. But when you have a young quarterback, you've got to surround this kid. You got to surround this kid with some talent. You have to.
I hate to say this, but I'm gonna interject my opinion on it. I think they had a great offseason. I think they had a great offseason. I think they had a great draft. I think that he absolutely addressed most of their biggest needs. Yes, I know they lost some receivers, but I mean, my God, they still have Bell. They have Mims, who they picked up. And if I'm not mistaken,
their tight end room is great. They've got a great tight end room. So again, they've got a couple of running backs.
Who's their tight ends, Will?
They took 9 players. They took 9 players.
Okay.
And then they got Becton and Clark, who's going to absolutely help that offensive line and give Sam Darnold a little more protection. That's something I haven't heard anybody talking about, but these guys are some big guys who I think can actually step in and start helping this team right off the bat.
So you have in your quarterback room, you have Sam Darnold and Joe Flacco as your backup. Not a bad deal. Joe can win you some games if Darnold goes down. Le'Veon Bell and Frank Gore in the backfield. You got Kenneth Dixon and you got Josh Adams as well. Your wide receivers are Brashad Perryman and Jamison Crowder and Denzel Mims. Really? I'm still worried about that. Braxton Berrios is on that roster. He was supposed to be something for the Patriots. He turned out not to be. Your tight ends are Chris Herndon and Ryan Griffin. Chris Herndon was suspended for the first 4 games due to PEDS last year. He's going to get a full slate and a fresh start and whatever training camp you're going to get. And then your line is Van Rotten, you picked up in the offseason. Connor McGovern was a free agent signing. Alex Lewis. Chuma Adogwa was also a free agent sign acquisition, and you drafted Mekhi Becton. Things are improved, but I still think that there are some parts and pieces that, and again, this is all having to gel this brand new mesh of players into this.
And
again,
let's not forget the cornerback moves they made too.
oh yeah, they've adjusted a lot of things.
Bryce Hall.
They got Blyson Austin, Marcus May, Jamal Adams, Pierre Desir.
They got Quincy Wilson too.
Yep, Quincy Wilson and Brian Poole and Bryce Hall. These guys are all still there. But again, yeah. I think that Joe Douglas is doing the best he can with what he's got. Because the Jets had money, so they did what they could with what they had. They had money the year before, and the previous GM blew it. He really did blow it when doing the Le'Veon Bell deal.
You realize too that 6 of their draft picks were team leaders on their college squads as well.
Yes.
So I mean, these guys already know how to lead. You know, I really think that they're going to be. I think they can very easily take 3rd in that division.
I think Sam Darnold just has to stay healthy for this to work. He can't get mono. He can't have an injury. He can't have a wrist or an ankle or a knee. Otherwise,
I think those injuries are a lot due to Ramona touched on it. I think that comes with not having a good offensive line. And when your quarterback, when your franchise quarterback is saying he's seen ghosts, you know, Ramona, she alluded to it. When he, you know, quarterbacks have that clock in their head, and when you keep getting the snot knocked out of you, that clock starts getting a little bit faster. You're not able to observe the field as efficiently, and it, you know, it starts to ruin you. So I think they're on the right track. I don't think they're ready to take that leap yet. I don't know if Adam Gase. I never thought Adam Gase was that good of a coach. I'm just going to keep it real. I never thought he was that. I don't know how the hell he keeps getting jobs. He seems. I don't know how he's able to do it, but he does. But we'll see. But the last thing I wanted to talk about with the Jets is Le'Veon Bell. He was a couple of years ago when we talked about Le'Veon Bell. Our thoughts on Le'Veon Bell were, I thought he was a top 5 back. I mean, Ramona, you would know best. He was with your Steelers. Would you say when Le'Veon Bell, when he was with the Steelers, would you call him at least a top 5 back?
I think when he was with the Steelers and he actually showed up to play the damn game, you could have put him at number 1, number 2 easily.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I think that I'm a little more shaded because I am a Steeler fan and I didn't like the way he actually played his cards in Pittsburgh. But do I still think that he's an elite back? I absolutely think he's an elite back.
Top 10? Top 10?
I would put him in the top 10. Yeah, okay. I would.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I would.
Okay. Sounds good.
I think he has some clout.
Sally,
I think he has some clout still. I think he still has some clout. You know what I mean? Okay. He does. Okay. You know, I know he knows that there's doubters out there, but he himself, you know, has his self-belief even in this offseason, and it's been undeniable. And I love that attitude about him.
Okay.
I think you're in for a rude awakening because I think Frank Gore personally has more elite status than Le'Veon Bell at this point.
Stop it.
Now here's the reason why. And listen to me carefully.
Go for it. William Richter doing some Dennis Holmes ignorant thinking. Go ahead, though, Will.
All right. When it's 3rd and 1, who's going to be on the field? Frank Gore or Le'Veon Bell? I'm going to put my money on Frank Gore being out there.
Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, because he's a better. Because what attribute?
First down.
What attribute do we look for in a third down back? Le'Veon Bell is a complete back. He's a better catcher. He's a better catcher of the ball than Frank Gore is.
The Jets are built for the run game right now at this point. With the way they've got the roster shaped, they are built for the run. So you're going to run first option. So 3rd and 1, I'm handing the ball to Frank Gore if I'm there, because that's what you're looking for. Frank Gore completed 84% of his 3rd and 1 runs last year in Buffalo. 3rd and 1, or
you know who he was playing. You know he was playing with in Buffalo. Look, Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary is not. Devin Singletary is not
even getting into that subject. I'm just telling you on conversions alone, 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 conversions, he was completing 84% of those conversions on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. So when you're in 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 1, you're pulling out Bell, which is taking away carries from him, and you're putting in Gore to get that first down so you could drive the ball some more. I'm telling you right now that you're going to see a lack of production or a rescindance of production. Le'Veon Bell is going to have to be a home run hitter. He is not that home run hitter anymore. He can't hit that hole. He's an older back. He's had surgeries. He's had issues. I'm telling you.
Whoa. An older back? Did you just say he's an older? How old is Frank Gore?
Frank Gore is 4,372 years old in 6 days. Let's go there. No, he's 36.
Frank Gore is 36 years old, and I don't even think Le'Veon Bell is 30 yet. I don't even think they brought Frank Gore in as an insurance policy. That's what he is. He's an insurance policy.
Le'Veon Bell is in the back end of his running back career at 28 years old.
Really?
Okay. You know what?
How many running backs over the age of 30 are running right now? How many running backs How many running backs over the age of 31 are running in the NFL right now? I can think of 2.
Him and Adrian Peterson.
Yep. Who else?
Over the age of 35, but
over the age of 32. There's only 2.
Okay. I'll take your word.
Adrian Peterson and the man himself. I'm telling you.
You want to read some comments, Marcus?
Go ahead. Yes. Man, I'm sorry, guys. Let's see here. Dalton Smith says, "I'm sorry, guys. They went back so far that I missed that. Since Patrick Mahomes got paid, will Chris Jones have a holdout?"
No.
I'll get back to that. Let's see here. Sharon says, "Hey, y'all. Dalton, hello. Thomas Maselko, Tyreek Hill, one of the highest paid receivers in the league. The Kansas City Chiefs and wide receiver Tyreek Hill have agreed to terms on a 3-year, $54 million deal." I think he's talking about the deal from last year. But
he should have been making $90 million.
TC Casey says Dak is worth $30 million tops. He's going to get more than that, TC. Ricky Wills says Dak is a decent. Okay, we're doing the serviceable thing again. Okay, serviceable quarterback.
He's a serviceable quarterback.
TC says
they'll call him more than a serviceable quarterback.
I think he's more than a. They surrounded him with weapons and he failed. What's good, everyone? Eddie B. Hill, welcome to the show.
He had weapons last year.
Let's see here. I think Dak ends up in Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Pittsburgh were overpaid for Big Ben. Okay. Let's see here.
I was paid for Big Ben.
No, we're taking away from the AFC East. No. Stop answering those questions.
I'm not gonna get. Dalton Smith says Jets. Just in the season. That's what Jets stands for.
Yep.
Jets finished second. Jets 6-10. Jets 4.
I think the Jets are 6-10, 7-9.
New Jersey Jets
prediction 7-9 is probably the best mark they'll get.
I know who brought the Steelers conversation up. I already know who that was. So anyway,
Darnold has been seeing ghosts, and he's going to see ghosts again. Dalton Smith. Let's see here. Adam Gase has got to be. He's got to go. He shouldn't be a head coach in the first place.
Here, I'll tell you how ready the Jets are. You want to know how ready the Jets are? We'll find out week 2 how ready the Jets are.
We'll definitely see.
Because they're in Buffalo on week 2.
Oh, Eddie Vigil says Frank Gore is collecting Social Security.
Not quite. He's there next year.
As long as Le'Veon Bell is healthy, I just think that's crazy to say that that Le'Veon Bell's in the back end of his career, but Frank Gore is 6 years older. I just don't get.
Well, he's 8 years older, and Frank Gore's running better than him. If you go look at the yards per carry, the numbers.
Well, yeah, and I'm gonna go with what Sharon Mullen says. One of the viewers says Le'Veon Bell is a top back in the game. You cannot go by the record last year, given the lack of the good O line and the other players around him. I absolutely agree with that.
If you've got a good line here, it'll be just the same.
I totally agree with that. So that basically covers our Jets, our Jets topic. So moving on to our next team, we're gonna talk about the Miami Dolphins.
Yes, the Miami Dolphins.
The Fins and
Fish the fish.
Look, I'm really interested to know about. I really am interested, guys. Please like and share the show. You all are watching the Alphabets Football Talk Show with myself, Marcus Alphabets, Ramon Nadar Hadar. I got Sally Thel in the house, and I got my man off the Richter scale in the house. We're here on the OnPoint Network. Please like and share the show. We appreciate you guys. Next thing we're going to be covering is the Miami Dolphins. And okay, look, the Miami Dolphins.
If you guys hear Thacker on my end, you know what's going on. Just want to let you know.
Okay, the Miami Dolphins. Let's just keep it real. They haven't had a good quarterback since Dan Marino. Can we all agree on that? Can we all pretty much agree on that? They haven't really had a good quarterback since Dan Marino.
Yeah, pretty much. They've had a couple random seasons here and there, but no.
I mean, look. When you got
he wasn't bad. He was average.
When you're running the Wildcat, they ran the Wildcat for one simple reason, because they didn't have a quarterback. So they're like, we're just gonna have Ronnie Brown play quarterback and run the ball from the quarterback.
Culpepper playing there at that point?
And it worked for a little. It worked for a little bit, but I'm interested. How long do we think before Tua takes over in Miami, or does he take over this season? And Sally, I want to start with you. What are your thoughts? How soon do you think, or do you not think that Tua takes over the reins in Miami? What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I don't know too much about this guy. I really don't. What I did find in regard, like you were talking about, they haven't had a good quarterback in a while, but from what I understand, just kind of what I read was that if he's not ready, they have Ryan Fitzpatrick still. So I really don't know what they mean by that. Does that mean he's not ready? Does he mean he's ready? I really don't know about this guy. Maybe you guys can kind of fill me in on him, because I really don't know.
With Tua, he had that wicked hip injury at the end of the year, missed the bowl game, and he's been out with hip surgery. He literally shattered his hip, and again, this put in.
I thought he just dislocated the hip.
And it shattered pieces of the actual the wall. He had the wall break. That big bone that sits there, he had it shatter and break it into chunks and spots. So pins and bolts and screws and all that stuff to go in to fix it. So he's still on the road to recovery. Yes, he's throwing a football. Yes, he's got some hip motion. But the question is he healthy for week one? Probably, maybe. I don't know. But nobody can tell until we actually see him on a field in pads and whatnot. But again, when you're looking at it, why would you risk him after just having that surgery less than a year ago? And that's one that Bo Jackson had, and he never came back from it. He dislocated his hip, and his career was done. He went to baseball and played 2 more seasons, if I remember correctly, and he didn't play anything more than DH at that point. So this is a possible career-ending injury that he suffered last year in college. So that's why they're looking at this as a questionable sign. Now, the signs are leading that it should be healthy to go, but I think the Dolphins, if they're a smart organization, will sit and redshirt him this year, or they'll play him when it's garbage time at the end of the year and they know they've got the offensive line right. They want to get some chemistry built, 2-3 games at the end of the year if they're not in the playoff hunt, or you know what, Fitzpatrick's gone down at the end of the year and nothing's going right.
Will they keep Rosen? Do you think they're going to keep Rosen just in case something happens to Fitzmagic?
I think Josh Rosen is still there, and he is the backup. I think Tua is sitting on the inactive list. He'll be on game day rosters, but he'll be on the inactive list. And I think Rosen's going to get one more shot at this. And I think this is what you're doing is you're trying to build something to sell Josh Rosen off. Now, whether you get a 4th or 5th round pick for him now at this point, because you're not going to get your market value because he hasn't had more than 3 games and he had 3 really mediocre or bad games. So you're trying to build up Josh Rosen, get his confidence back, and sell him to a team that might have lost him to COVID or somebody who needs a backup because they're out from COVID. So now you've got a new backup. Now you can slide Tua back into that backup role if you're just comfortable enough, or you can sign somebody else off the roster and play him that way. I think Tua red shirts. Or
I think Tua sits behind Fitzpatrick. I think for the whole season, I think he sits behind. I think that the only time that you see him in the game is when they've got a huge lead. And even then, I don't even know if you're going to see him then. They may give him some snaps because of, just because they're ahead. But I think you're going to see maybe Josh Rosen in there. Because I'm like William. I think they're going to try and figure out a way to sell Rosen to somebody. Rosen may leave before the season's even halfway through if somebody loses a quarterback at the beginning of the season.
Look, I say this all the time. It's a quarterback starved league. Everybody at some point is looking for a quarterback. I've gone on record with this. Me and Will, we talked about this on the old show. I think Josh Rosen has gotten a crappy deal. He really has.
Agreed.
He's got a crappy deal. I think I don't know if I don't know if he finishes the season as a starter. I don't agree with you on that, Ramona. But I do believe that Fitz does start the season because look, we gotta think about that as far as the environment that we're in. A lot of these rookie quarterbacks, there not being any OTAs, any type of training in the offseason, I don't think that these teams are going to be as willing to put these guys out there with no practice. They're talking about right now there might not be any type of they've already canceled 2 preseason games. I mean, preseason. The reason that we have the preseason is for these. The reason that we have this preseason is for these guys to be able to, get adjusted to the speed of the game. And all of these guys have been deprived that. So I think Fitzpatrick starts. I think if they're smart, I'm with you. I red shirt Tua. That's what I would do. But I know that we all know we know how the story goes with Rosen. We know how to not with Rosen, with Fitzpatrick. He's going to go out there. He's going to play 6 good games. He's going to have everybody excited, and then he's going to wet the bed, just like he always does. So moving on, next thing I wanted to talk about was Devontae Parker. And how good is Devontae Parker? Real quick, Ramona and Will, give me the top 3 wide receivers in the AFC East.
Stephon Diggs.
Top 3.
Stephon Diggs.
No.
Wide receivers, right? It'll be Diggs, Parker, and Edelman.
Yeah.
Diggs, Parker, and Edelman in that order.
Okay, I don't have an issue with that.
I think Devontae Parker can be a very solid number 2, but I don't expect anything major with him until Tua takes over. I think once Tua takes over, I think that him and Devontae Parker will have some chemistry together. Devontae Parker's fast. Nobody can say anything about how quick this guy is, especially after the catch. But he's not got the best hands. No, and like I said, but I think that he can work on that. But I don't know if he'll ever be a number 1 in Miami.
Your thoughts on Devontae Parker, Sally?
You know what? I think that the talent is in him. He's got talent. I think that he just needs to stay healthy and available basically on game day. And he needs to develop some type of chemistry with the quarterback and coaching staff. But I think the main thing is, from what I understand, I guess for him, mainly just staying healthy for the games. You know what I mean? Considering his history of numerous injuries that he's had.
Yeah, I think that the injuries have held him back. Look, let's not forget this guy was a first round. He was a first round talent. I'm with you guys. Now, I'm gonna do a little ignorant thinking myself. I don't. I agree with y'all's. I agree with y'all's top two wide receivers in the AFC East. But the third one, I'm gonna surprise y'all a little bit. I think the third best wide receiver in the AFC East is gonna be N'Keal Harry. I really do believe that. I think Julian Edelman. He kind of lost a step last year. I think this year, injuries kind of slowed down N'Keal Harry. But I think Devontae Parker. I think he is a number one. I think the thing that's held him back has been quarterback play, having a consistent quarterback, and two is not having another receiver on the other side of him. We see what receivers look like when they don't have a consistent guy on the other side of him. When the other team just Devontae Adams, when they just jump on you, and everybody's on you because there's not another receiver on the other side of you. So I don't think you'll really see Ramona. I'm with you on that. I don't think you'll really see the best of Devontae Parker until Tua takes over. And I think next season, the next season when they have the next draft, I think you'll see with one of those. They have 2 first-round picks next year. I can see them getting the kid out of LSU, Jamar's. I forget what his name is. The kid's incredible though. But they definitely need another wide receiver on the other side of him. So, go ahead, Will.
My sentiments are this. I'm looking at the roster now. Preston Williams, Albert Wilson, Devontae Parker. You got Allen Hurns and Mac Hollins. You've got not a very impressive roster, so you are going to be a number one by default. I don't think Devontae Parker is a true number one. I think he is a number two with number one capabilities. I think that is where you're at. I think you need a Stephon Diggs and N'Keal Harry. You need that kind of guy in Miami. And again, this all comes down to consistency of quarterback play, building that trust, building that chemistry. When you have a rotating door of Ryan Tannehill and backup and Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then Josh Rosen, then this, then that, you can't build chemistry with anyone doing that. I think Devontae Parker is being hurt by playing in Miami at this point. His career, he's 26, 27, 28. He's getting to that point too, where, yes, he's a wide receiver. He could start losing a step, but I think his best years right now in his prime, where he's being paid for a 5-year deal, I believe he signed last year, I think he's being wasted. I think he's wasted talent at this point. And I think that's what's hurting Miami is they're wasting some of the talent they have. And they need to do something in a quick turnover, and they're building for the future in 5 years' time to be a competitive organization, just like Buffalo did. And I think they're looking at doing it the way Buffalo did, where you build through the draft and the ownership is there. I don't think Devontae Parker is going to be really a big.
We got to move on, guys. We're kind of falling behind right now. We got to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. Quick on the comments. The Dolphins are Sharon. The Dolphins are not a very good organization. Sharon says, I think Josh Rosen's a crappy player. The Dalton says, will Devontae Parker finally get in the Pro Bowl? Parker will be average at best. And welcome to the show, Ron Thomas. So next, moving along, Dolphins made a lot of offseason moves. They picked up a couple of Buffalo Bills, and I think probably their biggest signing, they picked up the running back from 49ers, Matt Breida, Jordan Howard, running back. But I think the biggest offseason acquisition that they had was Byron Jones. Me and Sally know a lot about him coming from Dallas, from the Dallas Cowboys. He was the Cowboys' number one cornerback, shut down cornerback. Not really ball hawk. He will deflect the ball, not really. And I think that's why the Cowboys didn't pay him, because of the lack of turnovers. But I guess that's what I'm asking. And that going to this slide, do we think that Byron Jones can get more turnovers in that Dolphins defense? I think the Dolphins defense is going to be pretty damn good, in my opinion. What do we think Byron Jones could do in that Dolphins defense? And Ramona, I'll start with you on that. What do you think about Byron Jones?
I think that Jones can take the one whole side of the field and allow them to use their free safety and linebackers and strong safety on that opposite side, I think their defense is going to be good this year.
I do too.
I'm going to tell you something. Miami Dolphins defense actually showed some pretty good talent last year.
Yep.
And I think they only added to that defense. So I think they're going to be a decent defense.
You're building to play against your opponents in the same division. I'm looking at this. No, I'm looking at this from this video, and I get what you're saying. So now let's look at Byron Jones being the second, number 2 corner behind Xavier Howard. Who's he guarding that's number 2? John Smokey Brown is one of those guys you got to keep up with. Can Byron Jones keep up with Smokey Brown? Probably not. Can he keep? No.
No?
The footwork.
You do
Byron
know
Jones
that
was burned on so many plays.
You do know that Byron Jones is like a world
Class track and field guy.
world record breaker.
Yes.
Look, going from a number 1 corner in Dallas to playing number 2, I think that helps him because he does, and Byron Jones shut down a lot of wide receivers. But this season, he doesn't have to go out there and shadow that guy because that'll be
straight line speed is different. Straight line speed is different, and as soon as John Brown makes that double move or that in cut, it's like watching Tyreek Hill on that slant where he's got that bit of separation. Now it's a foot race. And now you're hoping that the free safeties and strong safeties are there. Not bad people in Eric Rowe and Bobby McCain. Nothing against them. I think it's just they're younger. So they've got to understand what their roles are to play off or play strong side on the number 2 or play on the strong side to help the slot. And again, it's all formations and stuff. I'm not saying Byron Jones is going to fail at turning over the ball and getting things because that was his big knock in Dallas, was it not? He couldn't cause turnovers. That's what I think that trend will continue until otherwise stated. I don't think that he's a turnover kind of guy. I think he's just a coverage guy where he can start to shut you down a bit at times. But I think he could get in over his head with Miami playing against the likes of, okay, well, who's the second in Seattle this year because they're playing Seattle? That's DK Metcalf. There's a freight train you got to stop. Can you stop that freight train? Can you stop Jared Goff? Or not Jared Goff, but the Rams wide receiver, the second one. You've got Robert 2 or 3 49ers wide receivers that you're going to get stuck guarding as they change the formations around.
What do you think, Sally? What do you think? Do you think Byron Jones does well for Miami? Or?
I know as far as turnovers have more to do with poor offense than elite defense, and maybe he's not as good as Gilmore or White, but I think he's in the next tier of elite, corners.
I think he's in second tier.
Yeah, he's definitely not those guys. But I think that look, for what they're paying him, I think they overpaid him. I think that's why Dallas didn't pay him. So we'll see how he does. I wish him the best of luck. He cashed in. They started him off at safety with Dallas. But moving on, we're going to move on to our third. We're going to move on to our third team, and we're going to talk about those New England Patriots, the new look New England Patriots. So we got a couple of Patriots fans in the house. We got TC Casey, Yuri Barros in the house. The big news, the big news for the offseason is Tom Brady leaving the Patriots after 20 years. Tom Brady moves on. He goes to Tampa Bay. And, until last week, we're thinking that the Patriots are going to go into the season with Jarrett Stidham as their quarterback. And I want to know for all my Patriots fans out there and everybody in the comments, can Super Cam keep the Patriots dynasty going? And William Ricker, I'm going to start off with you on this. I know everybody's like looking at this and excited about this. Will, I'm going to go first with you on this. What do you think about Cam? How do you think that he does with Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels?
I think this is and again, I've heard things like this. He could have a flash in the pan season. I think this is a flash in the pan season. Gets him paid. He goes elsewhere. He is a rental basically for the year. 1 year, 550,000, 7.5 million total if he makes all his incentives. I don't think that I think chemistry is a big thing. I think chemistry is a huge thing. And this New England Patriots offense is one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? In-depth offenses that you have to know and memorize. And coming from a simple run and shoot offense out of Carolina into this meticulous, well thought out, well developed offense that Belichick has been running for eons. Yes, Belichick's going to have different wrinkles and different things, but it's a new offense. How fast can he pick this up? His Wonderlic scores and his offense and his offensive capacity didn't pick everything up very well in Carolina for the first 3-4 years. And it took him 3 or 4 years to learn the Carolina offense. What's it going to take him to learn the New England Patriots offense? Yes, he's older. Yes, he's wiser. Yes, he's smarter. He's going to be in the book. He's going to pick people's brains. But is he able to learn the playbook? Second, what about Liz Frank? That foot injury has kept him out of playing consistent football for the last 3+ seasons. He's broken the foot week 2 every year for the last 2 years. He cannot stay healthy. He cannot be considered right now anything more than a functional quarterback until I see otherwise. Can he do it? Yes. Will he? That's undetermined, and whether it's an actual possibility. I don't think it's going to happen, though, personally. I got to see something like miraculous come out of Cam, and I don't think that they're going to be leaning on Cam to do what he needs to do. I think it's a different offense and a different change.
Okay.
Not saying they can't win games. I just don't think that they have enough to keep the dynasty going.
Okay. Sally, what are your thoughts on Super Cam?
I may have to agree a little bit with William in a sense, but as far as like Newton, he's not going to be asked to run the same offense as Brady, obviously, you know, and also too, I mean, he's a different type of player. From what I understand, I don't know if he's coming off of injuries. I don't know. Did he have some injuries or something recently too?
Yeah.
So, you know, I honestly, I have my doubts in regards to them fulfilling, you know, and continue with the dynasty. But I think with him learning to coexist, you know, with the coach and learning the plays, and I think it's possible too at the same time, because there's a possibility considering that, you know, Belichick has had 2 of the best players he's coached before, which was, you know, Taylor and Brady. So this guy can remain teachable. They can coexist. I mean, anything's possible. You know, at this time, I have my doubts, but anything's possible.
Okay. Mona, what do you think about Super Cam? Is he still Superman, or they got some kryptonite?
I think Belichick makes Cam what Cam should have been a couple years ago, to be honest. I do. I don't think that I don't think he's going to step in and just take over the division. I think that ship sailed when, you know. But I don't even think they beat the Bills twice this year. I'll put you that way.
Okay.
But I still think they take second in the division. I think it's going to take at least a year. I know that, you know, just from the things I've read, Cam's been practicing with all of the players. So they're building chemistry.
Yeah, they are, but
and
different in
you know, to say that they're not, it's a different offensive scheme, a different head coach. But we also know that players go to New England and they thrive under Belichick.
Or they die.
Yeah, they thrive or die. But I just do not see him dying in New England. Can he sustain their dynasty run? I don't think he can right away. But I think that, you know, New England has got, you know, a better offensive line, a healthy offensive line. I think that if that offensive line can give him the protection he needs, and plus we also know that blitzing on Cam is not the easiest thing in the world. It just ain't. So that's a step up above what Brady had for them. Because we know Brady couldn't scramble out of the pocket with crap.
Yeah.
So he brings a new aspect to that Patriots offense. So can they be dangerous? Oh, absolutely. They can absolutely be.
By the way,
I will say this. I think Cam has every opportunity to revive his career. Let's not forget, just like Will was saying, he's on a 1 year. He's on a 1 year deal. It's a prove it deal. He's a monster. He's a monster. I think they get more creative. I think I think he's with a better offense in New England. He's definitely with a better coaching staff. I think they'll look for ways to use him, get more creative. And let's keep it real. When you see a guy 6'4", 260 pounds running down the field, no one wants to see that. No, you don't want to have to deal with that. Okay, you do not want to have to. You don't want to have to deal with that. But I want to look at some of his weapons. You look, he had Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Stewart, and D'Angelo over in Carolina. And I think he's coming into an even better running back room. Now, there's not one player on the Patriots in the running back room that is as talented as Christian McCaffrey. But when you look at the totality of their running back room, and the next slide is James White or Sony Michel. When you look at Sony Michel, when you look at James White, when you look at Rex Burkhead, and a name I'm going to keep screaming it from the rooftops, Damian Harris, running back out of Alabama. I don't think he really got a chance to. Let's not forget, James White was a Super Bowl MVP. He's not Christian McCaffrey. Let me put that out there first. I don't want anybody saying Marcus said that James White is Christian. I'm not saying that, but he has that ability to catch the ball out the backfield. And then you look at a bruiser like Sony Michel, and you look at all of these running backs together. I think Cam has the best running back group that he's ever had. I think of course Sony Michel starts off as the starter, and then they sprinkle in a little bit of James White and Rex Burkhead in there, and I think that definitely helps them. Sally, what do you think about that?
Like I said, these guys are kind of a little bit more new to me in a sense, but just kind of reading up on them, I know, like I read that Sony was he has more of the passing game, while White he's going to do very well in his running game. So that's really all I know about these guys right now, to be honest with you. I was just reading up, like I said, and I'm liking what I see. I mean, I love their athleticism and the camaraderie that they have. And I agree with you. I think that they're going to have a pretty good, solid team there too.
Okay. Will, go ahead.
I'm not going to argue any of the points on the running back room. You look at the depth. They also have Rex Burkhead there for short yardage and whatnot. Yeah. Like they've got a class of athletes enough to deal with that.
He just resigned this week too.
Yeah, and he actually restructured his deal and took $1 million pay cut in order to keep everything, and they're rolling it into cash and other things and whatever. But my concern were tight end. You got Ossie. Well, we know rookies either boom or bust in their first year. Mm-hmm. It's either a quick learning curve, and this is not an offense that's easy for tight ends. Look, Gronkowski, Hernandez, they struggle right in the beginning, and all of a sudden, second, third year, you saw production massive. Now you're looking at the wide receiver room, Julian Edelman and Keel Harry and a bunch of no-names. So who's Cam throwing to? And Keel Harry? Well, he's going to get covered up by Trey White in the conference. Jamal Adams, going to cover him. So now you're going to have to rely on Edelman. Oh, well, Edelman's now got one of these athletic, speedy linebackers that the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Bills all have to cover this kind of kid. And he's lost his step. So, yeah, Edelman might get some catches, but it's not going to be the same kind with Brady with the quick tosses and whatnot. And that offensive line. That's where my concern is. Joe Thuney still has not signed his contract yet. He has till the 15th to sign his deal for the 1 year tender. He hasn't done that. He's an anchor. You drafted a couple of guys, you rolled a couple of guys in, somebody's healthy. You got a couple of guys back healthy from last year. You had your center retire, and your guard's coming in now to replace center, the one that had the heart condition last year. He's now coming into play as your center. I'm concerned for Cam's health and well-being for the simple fact that patchwork offensive line, no receivers to really rely on and throw to other than some young kids or a really old guy. I think he's missing something from that offense. He's going to have to lean heavy on the run game, but if you lean too heavy, teams are going to figure you out, and then it's just a nightmare. So that's where my concern is. I think James White is the better player. He is the Super Bowl MVP. I think he's there. I also think the other kid's very well as well. I think you've got three guys. I think Damian Harris is going to be a big guy, bruiser on third down back. I think that's where he'll fit in his niche. But I think the other one will go back, not White. I think you'll have those guys playing special teams. I think it'll be a fight to see who gets one carries with Damian Harris. And then I think the other one's going to special teams as kick and punt return. But they do have a great offense in the backfield. It's the front, it's those front 7-8 guys, the wide receivers, the tight ends, the linemen. I think that's my concern for where the offense goes.
Go ahead, Ramona.
James White, to me, because the question is James White or Sonny Michelle, and I think James White is the one. And the reason why I say it is because and I love Michelle. I
do. Yep.
I do. You know me and running backs. But I think with the injuries that he's had since college with his knees, and then didn't he just have foot surgery like in April or so?
Mm-hmm.
So is he going to be 100% healthy come game time? And I'm sorry, as a person who's had 3 knee surgeries and I've had lots of ankle injuries, I am not the softball player I used to be. Now, granted, I don't have the trainers and such. I just don't. But I still think that the James White over Sonny Michelle, but I still love Michelle too, so I can't say too much about that.
I'm gonna read a couple of these comments. Let's see here. Welcome to the show, Gary Tollett. Cam might be all right with a good head coach. Let me correct that. An offensive minded head coach. Dalton Smith, can Cam play all 16 games? TC, they have more weapons than they had last year. Tito, the man had 2 years to heal. If he can't finish the season and Brady did, he might as well give it up. Healthy O-line, armed running back. TC, 6'4", 265, 270. He's a monster. Showcasing his talent for the final contract next year. This offense is going to be plug and play. Edelman, Sanu, Harry, Myers, and TC also said Marquise Lee and Damian Burr. I forgot that they picked up Marquise Lee from Jacksonville. So we were talking about it earlier. N'Keal Harry, is it Harry or is it Stephon Gilmore?
It's Stephon Gilmore now.
Okay, Stephon Gilmore. All right. So is Stephon Gilmore, is he the best corner in the game? I'm going to start off with you, Ramona. Is Stephon Gilmore the best cornerback in the game?
I think he's definitely in the 1-2 spot. I take White over him. I just think looking at age, injuries, I still think that White, I'm going to take Tre'Davious White as the number 1, but I think he's definitely number 2. But I would take either one of them on my team, just so you know.
You take either one, huh? You can't go wrong with either or. Okay. Will, I think I know your answer here, but I'm really but go ahead anyway.
We're going to go Tre'Davious White as the top corner in this league. He is a shutdown corner. He is Trey Day all day. There's nothing. The man allows 14% completion catches on him last season. He gave up 0 touchdowns last year. 0. How many did Gilmore give up? 1. So let's talk about numbers here. They're both getting thrown to a boatload at times, but they are a shutdown corner. Gilmore, I'm not taking anything away from him because guess what? He came from Buffalo too. We're cornerback you. We make him and we let him go. But this time it's different. We have proper management. Trey Day, and we'll get into this in a few minutes, is getting a payday. And so I'm telling you right now, Trey White is putting up the numbers. He's shutting players down. Look at the Cowboys game at Thanksgiving. He shut the big guy down. He shut some bigger players down. Yes, you get an early start.
I have a question though. Didn't D-Hop kind of smoke him in the playoffs?
Yes, but guess what? He didn't have over 100 yards, and not one single player made over 100 yards on Trey White last year. Okay. Not one. Go back and look at the numbers. Trey White gave up less than 94 yards to every single wide receiver he played against last year. Shut down. Yes, he gave up 2 or 3 big plays for 30 or 40 yards because he was out there on an island.
Yeah, that happens.
It's going to happen.
But even
when
Deion Sanders and Darrell Revis got
14% to catch rate, you got a 14% chance of catching that ball when you throw it Trey Day's way. And he had 7 interceptions last year. You want to go with the numbers, that's turnovers. He's getting the ball back, going the other way. I'm telling you, Trey White is the guy that you're going to watch for, and he is the best corner right now.
What do you think, Sally?
Well, first of all, we're talking about Gilmore, right? So that's what I want to bring it back to. William, I don't know where you're going, but we're bringing it back to Gilmore right now, okay? So with that said, there's no question that Gilmore's ability to blanket the opponent's best receiver, there's no question about that, okay? He is widely considered, okay, as the best NFL cornerback, okay? He leads secondary in this unit. He's blossomed from a good player from Buffalo to the best at his position in New England. That's it.
Hold on, I'm getting stats for you because
Okay.
so for Trey White, or let's put it to you this way: Stephon Gilmore had 44 tackles last year and 6 interceptions. All right,
But that's my story, and I'm just sticking to it. That's what I'm just saying.
Well,
Trey White had 60 tackles.
I'm going to take the last word on this. We are talking about Trey. We are talking about Trey White. About Stephon Gilmore. I think Stephon Gilmore, without a doubt, is a top 2 or 3 cornerback. Let's not forget.
Well, let's not forget that their numbers at the end of the season were so daggone close it is unreal. The only thing that you can say is White had a sack. I think he had more assists.
Yep.
More assists than what Gilmore did.
And he had 9 more tackles than Gilmore, and he had 1 less interception.
Okay, well, we're going to transition right on over to that to Trey White. We're going
to N'Keal Harry right now.
N'Keal Harry. I'm sorry. So N'Keal Harry, can N'Keal Harry be the Patriots' number 1? I'm sorry. Last topic with the Patriots. Can N'Keal Harry be the number 1 wide receiver? I think Edelman's near the end. You look at, I think N'Keal Harry, I think he was kind of, injuries kind of robbed him last year. I thought he was the best wide receiver coming into the draft last year. I believe that. He wasn't really able to prove that. You know, you look at guys like Deebo Samuel and DK Metcalf, they had a little bit more success. But I think as far as a pure wide receiver that will go up and get the ball, I thought N'Keal Harry was that guy. Didn't really get to show it last year. And this is why you look at a team like Buffalo who was looking in the draft to drafting a wide receiver, and why they went and got Stephon Diggs. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think this is the year that N'Keal Harry steps up. I really do. You look at him. You look at Mohamed Sanu, Jacoby Myers. You look at Edelman. I think he's near the end. Marquise Lee's your gadget guy. I think N'Keal Harry. We just talked about who we thought were the top 3 wide receivers in the AFC. I think it's Stephon Diggs. As soon as he moved into the AFC East, I thought Stephon Diggs automatically became the best wide receiver in the AFC East. I think talent-wise, Devontae Parker's number 2. And I think this year, even though he didn't really get to prove it last year, I think N'Keal Harry will be the number 1 receiver for the New England Patriots. I think you will see this guy take off this year. Your thoughts, Ramon?
Oh, I think N'Keal Harry is the real deal. I think receivers and quarterbacks, the key ingredient to receivers and quarterbacks is, quarterbacks being able to reach the receiver, but it's got to do with a lot of chemistry. I don't think that Brady and N'Keal Harry ever got that.
Meshed well. They didn't mesh well.
Right. I don't think they ever got that. I think that Cam Newton and him have been working together already. And so I do think that they're going to have that chemistry. I think he's going to be probably the number 1 receiver And I think you're going to see him get a lot of yards this year for Cam Newton.
Okay. Sally.
All right, so this guy, he, given his weight, I think that Harry is a big and physical wide receiver. So he's the type of player who can really open up the Patriots' offense and give them some much needed size at that position. He uses his size extremely well. He shows the ability to basically box out opposing defense backs, consistently makes, catches. He's a tremendous jump ball receiver and consistently keeps control throughout the catches. So I agree with you, Ramon. I think he's a real deal, and even reading up more, I really like this guy. So I think he's going to be awesome.
Okay.
He's already got a lot going for him.
I think you're going to label N'Keal Harry number one, but looking at the roster again, we forgot about Mohamed Sanu. He played last year. He's got some cohesive with this unit, this mix. He worked well. He helped play off for Edelman to get Edelman open at that point in times when he was the number one for a week or two as they were dealing with injuries and shuffling everything around. I guarantee you they're going to be doubling. You're going to stick Trey White on N'Keal Harry. Now you've got to cover off on the second side. Mohamed Sanu versus our boy from Washington that we just signed up, Mr. Former Carolina Panther himself, is the number two. I think you're going to see a resurgence. I think you're going to find that Mohamed Sanu will probably be your bell cow wide receiver. I'm not taking away from Harry, but I got to see healthy. I haven't seen healthy the entire time. His rookie season, he missed the whole thing. In the second year, he missed a bunch of games last year. Is he healthy enough? This is like watching Sammy Watkins all over again in Buffalo. Can he stay healthy? Can he produce? My guess is he's probably not going to live out his contract, and somebody's going to let him go in his fourth year if he's not healthy. And somebody else will pick him up on a cheap deal, and he'll flourish somewhere where there's a quarterback that can work with him a little differently.
Well, we got about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So
moving on. We're going to move on to the. I'm going to read a couple of comments here, and then we're going to move on to the Patriots. Let's see here. TC said, until White can play well in big game, no way. Tito says, who do y'all think is the best corner in the game? We'll get to that. Hopkins smoked him in the playoff game, and Gilmore has succeeded at the highest level. So here we go. We're going to last team that we're going to cover.
Wheels make you wanna shout, get your heels up and down, throw your hands up and down, throw your head back and down.
That's right, we got to throw it out there. Come on, Bill.
Stand up now, come on out.
That's the
Shout it right now, baby.
So the last thing we're going to
count song for you.
Oh my goodness, Ramona,
Had to
me,
do that. Had to
you know
do
what,
that.
Ramona, me and you, we're gonna have a talk after this.
Yes. High five, Ramona.
I told you I'd get fired at the end of the show.
Hey, you want to make this an AFC
Marcus, I
show? You're
warned
not
you, I
walking
told
out here without a Bill Shout song. Come on now.
I told you we had surprises.
Okay,
I have some more.
That's definitely a surprise. So, real quick, guys, we're getting a little bit short on time. Tre'Davious White, does he deserve to be the highest paid cornerback? We're switching over to the last team in the division, Buffalo Bills. Will he be the highest paid cornerback? Will, since it's your team, I'm gonna let you go first on it.
No questions. I'm looking at the numbers. Darius Slay is 16.7. Then we have two Miami guys, and Byron Jones and Jordan Howard or Xavier Howard at 16.5 and 15.1. After that, James Bradbury's the fourth at 14.5. Arizona's Patrick Peterson's making just over $14 million. Gilmore's only making $13 million, but he's 9 years into the league. He's made some money. Buffalo gave him a pretty lucrative deal, drafting him in the top 10 when they drafted him way back when, 9 years ago. AJ Bouye is making $13.5 million. Trey's playing better than 90% of these guys. Slay is a shutdown guy. Byron Jones can be if he gets it right. Xavier Howard's a top corner. So I'm looking at Trey breaking the market. I think you're looking at 17 to 18 million for Trey White. I'm looking probably closer to the 18 million mark. I think Trey White deserves the money. He's been a shutdown, consistent guy. The Bills like drafting and keeping their own. They drafted Trey White. Sean McDermott was the guy that drafted this kid. So Sean McDermott's going to find a way to keep him come hell or high water. I don't see why he can't make 18 million and reset the market again.
Mona.
I agree. I think he's only going to keep getting better, and I think that Buffalo knows this. The Bills know this, and so they're going to pay him to keep him.
Okay. Sally.
I agree 100%. He is likely the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. I think he's going to be the one to reset the market this summer. I really do. I think he deserves to be paid what he's going to get paid.
Okay.
Right now, he's on a 4-year, $10 million deal from his rookie contract.
I disagree with all of you all on this. I think I think Jalen Ramsey ends up taking that honor whenever he's going into the last year of his contract. I think when they brought him in for that, they gave up 2 first-round picks again. I think it's going to be Jalen Ramsey. So next player with the Bills, Devin Singletary. Is he an every down back? He had a pretty good season last year. I don't think he had 1,000 yards, but he played pretty well. Kind of took over towards the end of the season. And Ramona, I'm going to start off with you on this one. You're a running back. You're a running back connoisseur. What are your thoughts?
I think he is an ever down back. I really do. But I think that he's going to end up sharing the load with Zach Moss, and depending on how well Zach Moss transfers from collegiate level to NFL level, I really like Zach Moss, just so you know.
Yeah.
And I really think that Zach Moss will eventually be the number one.
Yeah.
Down back.
Okay.
Maybe even by 3/4 of the season.
Will, this is your guy. What do you think?
I think Devin Singletary got the nickname Motor for a reason. The motor doesn't stop running. Okay, he's got the scat back abilities. Does he have the size? No. Does he have the speed? He's on a little bit of the slower side. I think he's a 4.5, 4.6 guy. He's at the back end of the speed, but he can be elusive, just like a Le'Veon Bell elusive kind of be. Like, that's the kind of skill he has. He's like a smaller version of Le'Veon Bell, what he can and can't do. He can catch out of the backfield. He can run. He can get stuff. He'll go in between the tackles too. But I think with the depth of that running back room, when you have Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, Christian Wade, and T.J. Yeldon at this point, and whoever else they bring in at this point, there's other factors at play. I don't see T.J. Yeldon making the roster. I think you're going to see a split between Zach Moss and Singletary. I can even see Christian Wade coming in for handfuls of plays as a substitute switchback, like as in to give them a breather if one's down or one's needing a break, or putting him in a package. Christian Wade will probably be in a small package with about 20 to 35 plays for the season, so he sees some field time this year. I think he makes the roster. He'll probably be a special teamer, and he'll earn his right onto the field as he goes. But I don't think Singletary can be. He's a 2-down guy, not a 3-down guy.
All right, we're down to about.
We got to pass to go. We got to pass to go over our time, so we're good. We're good to go. Okay. I got the word on that. Sally,
Awesome.
What do you think about Devin Singletary?
Well, basically, I guess that this past season he had a breakout season for the Buffaloes, and the expectation is that he will build on that this coming season, basically. So.
Yeah, he had about 800 yards, and he had lots of catches. He had about 500 yards catching, and like he took over because Frank Gore was just not getting it done at times. It just looked a little slower. Looked like Frank was
real quick. I'm with my co-host on this. I think Zach Moss eventually becomes the starter there. He's got better pedigree. He's more of a bruiser. I think he fits more the style that Buffalo wants to play, a power football team. I just don't think Singletary, he's a good back. He's just not that big. And I played running back. My kids play running back. That size matters as a running back, especially when you talk about a franchise back. So I think Zach Moss, the way he ran at Utah, they brought him in for that reason. I think he takes a lot of pressure off of Josh Allen, where he doesn't have to run as much. And I think he's just more of a pro-ready back than Devin Singletary. Mm-hmm. So moving on to one of the biggest offseason acquisitions, Stephon Gilmore. Real quick, I just thought the Stephon Diggs make the Bills' offense more explosive. No doubt about it. I thought this was one of the shrewdest moves of the offseason. They were talking about picking a wide receiver at 22. You weren't going to get a wide receiver as good as Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs is one of the better route runners in the league, and to get him for what you did, I think he's making like $12 million this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that they finally have given Josh Allen a number one wide receiver. That allows the other wide receivers to move back into their natural spot. John Smokey Brown, instead of being number one, he moves to his natural spot at number two. Instead of Cole Beasley being a two, he moved back into as a three in the slot. And I think this was a perfect acquisition. I think this really helps Josh Allen. And if he can't do it with this guy, then they really need to start thinking about, the quarterback room. And real quick, Will, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I'm not going to disagree at any point. Does Stephon Diggs make the offense more explosive? Absolutely. He makes any offense explosive. If you stuck him on any roster, where would he be? He'd probably be the number one guy on most rosters. There's a handful of exceptions out there with like the Falcons or maybe the Tampa Bay Bucks or somebody like that. Maybe the Cowboys. He wouldn't make it. He'd be a number two, depending on how they see it. Because Amari Cooper's up there too. It all depends, because that's a matchup like Thielen and Diggs. So it's all in perspective. But I think having a big body wide receiver with a giant catch radius and has the speed to keep up with that deep ball that he throws, I think this was a perfect match. And giving away three draft picks for him, giving a first, a fourth, and I think a seventh this year and a seventh next year or sixth next year, it was absolutely worth it, because it's a 50-50 crapshoot when you draw into the 22 spot. And is your wide receiver you wanted there, or are you going to take for best need? Well, we'll throw it away our number one, and we'll get a guy we know will receive the ball and can catch and put the numbers up in the NFL and can play a proper NFL position, can run a route tree, can do all the things that you're asking him to do. And he's come in with open arms. And him and Josh have been, since literally the day they made that acquisition, been at each other's hip trying to get everything right. So we'll see how that turns out and how that plays out. But that only time will tell. But I think, again, chemistry plays a big factor into it. We'll see how the chemistry works. It's going to take a few games, and they both understand that. They've both been interviewed and asked that. If he doesn't make the throw right or whatever, he's like, it's chemistry. We've got to build it. It's going to take time. He knows it. He's got 3 years left on his deal, Diggs does. So they've got time. And Allen's got 3 years left on his deal before they both come up. So there's lots of premise here going into Allen's third year. So we've got lots of time to work on that.
Okay. Sally.
Oh yeah, most definitely explosive. Definitely. I think now that he's with the Buffaloes with Josh Allen, who's got a cannon for an arm, he has the ability to even have his plays more on display. You know what I mean? He has the ability to turn like big plays into huge ones. And so yeah, I think.
Wait a minute. I'm curious. So are you saying that you think Josh Allen is better than Deshaun Watson?
Well, I mean.
Oh, wait a minute. It was Kirk Cousins. Sorry.
I mean, from what I'm understanding in regards to him, I think so. Yes, I think so. Yes,
I do too.
Because he just comes across as explosive, and what he does is explosive. Everything about him is explosive. You know what I mean? And what he brings to the game and the team, and I think it's dynamic.
Die Hard.
Oh, I absolutely think he's much more explosive than. I think that he makes a difference in how far the Bills got in the playoffs this year, or back in January. So,
And the what if scenario leads to me is, what if Stephon Diggs was on that roster to take the pressure off Josh Allen last year in that playoff game? What if Diggs was there?
Would that
have been a different game?
And
You're
bringing up Josh Allen.
Yep.
This is our last topic on the Buffalo Bills.
not quite.
No, we got one more we can sneak in.
Is Josh Allen any good?
Go ahead, Marcus Betts. Just tell us.
You all know what I think about Josh Allen, but I will say this. Look. I'm not up here. I'm not honest. I'm not going to trash the guy. I don't think he's a very good quarterback right now, but he does have potential. Okay, I've always said his floor is Blake Bortles. You look at a guy who's big and mobile, who has a rocket launcher, who's got a rocket launcher attached to his shoulder, who was covered up by a great defense. Who does that sound like? 2017 Jacksonville Jaguar. He's right now. Josh Allen's the weak link on his team. Can he overcome that? Probably can. We'll see. They play a tougher schedule this season. When you go from being the hunter to the hunted, no one's going to overlook Buffalo this year. So I don't think he's a very good quarterback right now. I do think that he has the potential to be a very good quarterback. They've given him everything he needs to succeed, and I'm really excited to see what he does. So, Ramona, I'm going to let you go next on this. What do you think about Josh Allen?
I like Josh Allen. I really like this kid. I like his arm strength. I like his ability to scramble out of the pocket and be elusive. His escape ability is phenomenal. But his foot work still needs a little work. I seen an improvement last year. So I think that you're going to see more of an improvement because I think now that he's actually out there and he's working with Stephon Diggs, I think Stephon Diggs makes him want to be and work harder to be a better quarterback. I think that first year out there, he was throwing the long ball. Last year, you didn't see him really throwing the long ball. But I think now that Stephon Diggs is on this team, I think they're going to turn the boy loose. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to turn him loose, and I think that this is it. This year, he's got no excuses. He's got weapons galore that it's do or die for him this season. I think that if he doesn't get them back to the playoffs, then I think you could possibly see them drafting a quarterback next year. And isn't it the one that Devon likes so well? I had to do it.
Well, that's not a bad replacement if that's what you're trying to sell Bills fans on. But
I don't think, you're not going to get Trevor because it's got to be a losing franchise, and I just don't see you guys losing this year. So,
but we can give 2 draft picks. We could be like,
Go ahead, Sally.
Well, in regards to him, his ability to run is there, but I think his decision making can be a little questionable. His arms basically need to catch up with his legs at this point.
I don't think the decision making at the end of the year was any question.
Yeah, I
put this up last time. Throw that one back up there. Previous. Throw that stat line for the last 11 weeks. Throw that back up there.
I'm coming back.
This is the last 11 weeks during the run where they played Pittsburgh, Dallas, New England, and they played the tough teams.
The Patriots.
That's the numbers.
Okay.
That's flat out the numbers.
Okay.
You can't tell me that the
kid. If you're going to do that, you also have to take that playoff game into consideration.
I agree. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but you're telling me his inconsistency, his throws, his other things are there. Like, yes, he makes things. Here's the deal. First year, 9 of 17 on deep balls of 20 yards or more complete. Last year, he was 6 of 27. He threw a few more, but he didn't really have anybody that could keep up with that deep ball, and he didn't have that. But you know what he struggled with in his first year? The short range game. Anything from 20 yards to 5 yards. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a 5-yard pass. So last year, he fixed that. So now he was on an average between 5 and 20 yards, turning into big play explosives, where he had a much better completion percentage on that rate. So,
okay.
And here's another fun stat for you. Take a look at this one. Josh Allen's the only quarterback last year in the NFL to throw 0 interceptions in the fourth quarter and 0 in the red zone. Not even Drew Brees, not Tom Brady, not Patrick Mahomes, nobody. Josh Allen was the only guy that can do this. Okay. You want to tell me that the kid doesn't have it? There's your stat. He didn't cost you the game at the end. He was always trying to win it. Not saying that he didn't start fires at the end, but here's the deal. He had his days where they were dominant all day long, and he didn't throw it away and cost them a game at the end. There are games like the Jets game at the beginning of the year, the Titans game where he won it for them. The heart is there. You want to know what Josh Allen is? He's the heartbeat.
Okay, he's going to definitely get his opportunity.
Here's the
We're
deal.
running a little bit. We're running a little bit out of time. Last week we started a segment called "There's Levels to This." Okay, and real quick, guys, this is a kind of a speed round. We have the teams who have the best chance to win the Super Bowl, and right now the Chiefs have 21% chance. Does anybody disagree with that? Chiefs, Ravens, Saints, 49ers, Cowboys. Any issue with the top three there?
Yes, Saints. Well, not top. Well, the Saints. I think the Niners have a better shot, personally.
I agree with you.
And as for the Cowboys, I don't think that they have a better shot. There are guys like Seattle and Indianapolis, if they come back healthy with a Phillip Rivers in that offense, somebody who can actually run the offense better. I think Indianapolis is a better number. The Patriots have moved up the board a little bit. The Bills are right there in the tops as well. They're at top 10, 11. The Patriots are right there just before them.
Yeah,
I'm not saying the Cowboys can't be in the – I just don't think they're in that top 5. I think they're like 7, 8, 9. I think there are 3 or 4 other teams that are better. Tampa Bay has to be thrown in there at some point because Tampa Bay's got Brady, Gronk. That offense is running. You've got Godwin down there. You've got an offense, explosive offense, just like Mahomes. So, again, you have to take these into consideration and think where that's going too. So, top 3, not so bad. I think flip the Niners and Saints and then bump the Cowboys back and put in like Indy, Seattle, somebody like that that's going to be there.
Okay. Mona, any issues?
Top 2, I agree with, but I do put the Cowboys right back up there, number 3. I think that the Cowboys were missing a defense last year, and I think they made improvements on that defense. I think with the pick of CeeDee Lamb, that offense is going to be explosive as hell. I think they absolutely – I do think that they absolutely stand a chance of making the playoffs and going to another Super Bowl. I love the 49ers defense. Love the 49ers defense.
Okay.
I love their offense, but I'm just not sold on Garoppolo. I'm not sold on him. There's nothing you can give me, show me, to sell me on Garoppolo yet.
Okay. All right. Sally.
And I know he went to the Super Bowl, but you know what? He was winning that game, and in the fourth quarter, he was non-existent.
I'm totally with you on that. Sally, you have any issues with this list?
You already know. You already know what I'm going to say, okay? I'm going to say Cowboys take it this year, this next season. I'm just saying, I mean, the lineup is good. You guys have no idea. I'm so excited about, I mean, the guys look good. I mean, I'm just already pumped. Just every time I talk about them, I get pumped up. So, yeah, I'm going to say Cowboys.
We also thought the Cleveland Browns at this point in time were going to be Super Bowl contenders, and look where that happened with.
Oh no!
We're not going to get into that. Okay, real quick, guys. We got to go speed here. It's just quick answer. CeeDee Lamb, Judy, and Ruggs start, bench, cut. Quick answer.
In order. Lamb, Ruggs, and Judy. That order. Lamb, Ruggs, Judy.
It's like
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Ramona.
I'm gonna start Jerry Judy. I'm gonna bench Lamb, and I'm gonna cut Ruggs.
Okay, Sally, real quick.
Start Lamb. I'm gonna go ahead and bench Jerry and cut Jerry and bench Ruggs.
I'm with you on that. I'm totally with you on that. And last slide. I just need your team real quick. with $11. Give me your team. No explanation. Just give me who you got. Will, you're first. Real
Patrick
quick.
Mahomes, Godwin, White, and Dawson Knox.
Okay, Sally, real quick.
Let's see. Cook. Let's see. I can't see. Oh, Edelman.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go with Davis.
Okay. Mona, real quick.
Mahomes, White, Higgins, and Ertz.
And I got Mahomes, Gordon, Knox, Edelman. That's who I got right
Funny
now.
how he picked the Bills tight end to come up there and get some tight end.
There he goes. There she goes. Contractual obligations.
There
Totally.
you go.
There we go, right there. You are clear. And I think we've covered everything real quick.
Do you have any more, Ramona?
You still didn't say it though. Just putting up a slide. That ain't it.
Oh,
Oh, she said it earlier too.
I said it earlier at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
Rocky Black.
When you were asking about.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody. Sally, thanks for joining us. Will,
Thank you for having me.
Victor, this is like old times right here. Thank you so much for coming. Any last words, Sally?
Well, first of all, I truly appreciate the honor of coming on here. This was really exciting, and I got my viewers on watching. I enjoyed meeting all of you guys, and thank you for the platform. And yeah, go Dallas Cowboys.
Yay. Richter Scale, what you got for me?
Josh Allen checked the ball down 6 of 461 passes last year, leading the league in less than 1.3% in throws. So you want to call him Captain Checkdown, but he doesn't throw the deep ball. Let's question that real quick. Oh, and one more real quick hitter. By the way, the Bills are 15-9 with Josh Allen starts and finishes the games. They are 1-7 when he doesn't play, and it's the exact same team. Who's the winner now? Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen. As long as he plays the whole game, they're a winner. Come on.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now, this is straight out, and this is from a Jets fan. A Jets beat writer put this out. So you go tell a Jets fan that and he's got to deal with us twice a year. Go Buffalo.
Ramona, last word.
Last words. I just want to thank all of the viewers who show up, every Friday at 9:00, and 11:00 on the West Coast. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to have these shows, and we really like trying to entertain everyone. So.
Oh, quick
Thank you
hit
so
on that
much.
cam thing.
Thank you, William. Thank you, William and Sally, for coming out. We really appreciate it. We'll definitely have to have you all back. Thanks to my co-host, Ms. Di. Thank you for everybody in the comments. I really don't have time tonight. We kind of pushed it to the limit here, but we try to squeeze out all this information. Thank you.